kill for gain or shoot to maim. But we don't need a reason. The golden goose is on the loose and never out of season. Blackened pride still burns inside this shell of bloody treason. Here's my gun for a barrel of fun, for the love of living death. This is the Community Solutions Podcast. Jason Bradley, Andrew Richter, straight out of the bowels of our underground lair.
Speaking of your bowels. No, I'm just kidding.
Really? Let's not have that discussion.
So we waited off camera. We waited all that time for that song, and I have no idea who the hell it is.
Right.
You planned that on purpose, probably.
No, we're kind of getting short on songs about. I'm sure I can find some crime and police and things like that. We've used a lot of the most obvious ones, anyways, and trying to stay in the rock and roll genre.
All right, well, enlighten us then on who that. You know, we could have had like the Andy Griffith theme song of the guy who goes in, lets himself in, and lets himself out.
Really not a good whistler.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
Me either.
Oh well. The song I guess actually is about war, but we kind of have war going on in the streets of some of our cities, so kind of fitting. 2 minutes to Midnight from Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden.
Yes.
Let's see. Do I know anything of them? Are they like Megadeth or something?
Well, I mean, I don't know anything
80s
of them heavy
either.
metal band.
Oh, okay.
That's about.
That about explains it.
I'm sure you've probably heard this song. If you heard it, you'd probably go, oh yeah, I know that one.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I always feel dumb when you give me a certain look when I should know it. You didn't give me that today.
Oh no.
But yeah.
But this is one of their more popular songs. This one, The Trooper, Power Slave, was a popular album. Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
All right.
Well, how are we today, Jay? You're mid-August, all of a sudden, believe it or not. I mean, summer flying by. I'll tell you what, when I was younger, I thought time just stood still. I mean, when I look back on it, ages like 16 to 25 took like 100 years.
Yeah.
And for the last, I guess I'm 44 now, so I mean the last 15 plus just are a blink right now. I mean, and how do you slow time down a little bit? I don't want to go back in time because but I mean, I think back to like when I was a teenager. I think, was that really 30 years ago? 30. Wow. You know, I think of like when I was a teenager. I'm at my dad's age now that he was when I was. And I'm like, really? He was so old. And now I'm that age. You know what I mean? It's just, he's still around. He's in his 70s now, but I can't believe that it's already here. You know, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'm having a midlife anything, but statistics show that I've lived about 58% of my life now as a man in the United States. I don't know about the other 25 genders, but I do know that with life expectancy, which just changes a lot, that the majority of my life has been lived. I mean,
I've lived a little over a third of my life.
Yeah. You really want to live that long?
I don't know.
You want to live to be 130?
Oh, I don't think at 120 maybe I can get.
You said a third. I mean, you're older than me, so I mean, that's a long time to live. I don't think. I don't know. I don't think
I'm going to go out on a mountaintop like Moses at 120.
Well, how'd he die? Did he ever die?
Yeah, he died.
After he brought down the books.
Yeah,
the tablets.
That was a lot later in life. Yeah, when that happened. He was wandering around the wilderness somewhere up in the mountains.
Well, that's a recipe for getting lost.
Yeah. I don't think he was lost. He kind of went up and came back down.
Yeah, he brought something with him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, Jay. A new month means one thing on this show now.
Yeah.
It means history lesson.
Yeah.
We have to have our history lesson.
Yeah.
And I'm actually fairly confident. Actually, I shouldn't say anything because that's like you with the music to me. Like
Right.
I should know it's the Beatles or the Rolling Stones, and I don't.
And we all know I'm terrible with dates.
Okay, but I mean,
I know stories. I don't know dates.
all right.
So, all right.
Well, it's first half of August. Okay?
Yep. Okay.
This event in American history happened on August 2nd, 1923.
Ooh. August 2nd, 1923. Well, 23, I mean, we know who was president, so would this have been when Henry Ford debuted his assembly line?
That was 1927. You're not far off. I'll give you a small hint.
Yeah.
When you said you know who's president, you're on the right track.
Oh, McKinley died.
No,
Or not
McKinley was
McKinley.
1901.
Okay, sorry, not McKinley. I meant
You're right.
It is when Calvin Coolidge took over. as
President Harding passed
Harding,
away
yeah.
that day in
Yep.
1923. Lots of controversy surrounds his death, believe it or not.
Yeah.
His wife died soon after that. He died in bed while she was reading to him. That's when he passed away. But of course, there was the people in his administration that came out later with having a lot of problems. President Harding wasn't really directly implicated in anything, but Teapot Dome and so on and so forth. And yes, you're right. Calvin Coolidge became president of the United States that day. You know, President Coolidge was sworn in by his father.
Really?
His father was
That
like
I didn't know.
He was like a justice of the peace or something like that. And when they heard the news,
Like a notary public?
something like that. But when they heard the news,
Yes.
they said, precedent says that you swear in right now.
Yes.
Like remember President Johnson on the plane? It's like you just whatever happens, swear in now. Mm-hmm. So his dad happened to be something like that, and so his father swore him in. All right, Jay. In the sports world,
Yes.
very similar time. You might not get this one, but I think you'll have an aha moment afterward.
Okay.
August 3rd, 1921. A red letter date in the history of baseball.
Is that the whole Black Sox thing?
You're on the right track.
Yeah. I'm on the right track.
Yes, you're right, but something specific happened that day.
That was the day that it was exposed.
Close.
Oh.
That was the day, August 2nd. They were acquitted by a Chicago jury. There were no statutes on defrauding baseball. They were actually charged with defrauding Charles Comiskey, who was the owner of the White Sox.
Right.
And their statements magically disappeared from Chicago. I mean, it's just things just magically disappear. I'm glad you got this one right because this is I could tell this story about the Black Sox for 2 hours.
Right.
They were acquitted the very next day. Commissioner Kennesaw Landis, who had been on the job for only a few months, he had been a federal judge prior to this. And this is the thing about August 3rd. The very next day, he banned all 8 players for life. So that is the significance of that day. Even though they were acquitted in court, they were clearly guilty, and Commissioner Landis banned them on that day, August 3rd, 1921. And they remain today on the ineligible list.
Them and Pete Rose.
And there's a few others, but
Yes.
for them, it's not a long list of
No?
people banned for life. But the 8 players. I could probably still name them. Joe Jackson, Eddie Seacott, Claude Williams, Happy Felsh, Swede Reisberg, Chick Gandale, Buck Weaver, and Fred McMullen.
That's too bad. Shoeless Joe Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, and there was a lot of controversy with Landis's decision. I mean, I agree with it, but Landis decided that he would not split hairs. He would not say, okay, this guy...
Right.
took money, but didn't. The guy who drove the getaway car was as guilty as the guy who robbed the bank. So Landis, being a judge, that's how he saw it. And I think it did amazingly. I think him and Babe Ruth came along at the same time. So you had a dichotomy of a changing game with a popular, the biggest star in the country, and Landis cleaning up the game. The game was very corrupt prior to this. And a commissioner was needed to come in and make some changes.
So best player, best baseball player, not ever allowed into the Hall of Fame, would you say Pete Rose? Or better than Shoeless Joe?
Well, Shoeless Joe was only about 31, 30.
Yeah, he didn't get a full career.
I mean, to me, the best baseball player not in the Hall of Fame is Barry Bonds.
Well, but that's true, I guess.
I mean, again, whatever you think of that, it's endless debating. But I think Rose, and again, you have another case where Rose's allegations came after his career was over, and that's always been a source of my suggestion has always been to put Rose in the Hall of Fame and put it on his plaque. This guy was a disgrace. He's a piece of garbage, which he is. I mean, he's an arrogant prick, and he only thinks of himself, and that's true. And this is from a guy who loved Pete Rose. I had a bowl haircut, so I could look like Pete Rose, okay? Because I remember when he broke the hit record. But I think Pete only cares about Pete, and he's a hard guy to defend. But there's a lot of players I don't like that are great, and I can't deny.
Take a number,
yeah, exactly. So it is Pete. Shoeless Joe's number 2. Eddie Seacott, who was also involved in the Black Sox. He won like 218 career games or something like that. Probably he was about 36 or. He was kind of in the twilight of his career, although he was a 20-game winner in 1920, the year after the streak. He probably didn't have that many years to go. Maybe he was a borderline Hall of Famer. Some of the other players in the White Sox, Happy Felsch was pretty good. He was their center fielder. Buck Weaver was a really good third baseman. So it's kind of actually one of the ringleaders is from Minnesota, Chick Gandill. He used to be a boxer. He was from St. Paul.
That's where the itch to fix stuff came in, because he was a boxer.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's where you know everybody. And you look at the people involved. We're connected to that.
Boy,
boxing may be the most corrupt sport ever.
Yeah.
I mean, people taking dives, and all the way from way back there all the way to Sonny Liston.
A lot of mafia influence in that sport.
And it sucks because I used to love boxing.
Yeah.
And I know it's been replaced by like MMA and Ultimate Fighting.
I can't watch it.
I don't like that either. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I feel boxing, there's an art to it.
Right.
And
there is to MMA too. You're using different types of martial arts, but I get too squeamish watching people break bones and get pummeled. To
me, boxing just has such a. It's a sport that I think will never make a comeback. I mean, a sport that's seen its best days 80 years ago is not going to make a comeback, and I think it's sad. But you talk about worldwide sports. I mean, in like Muhammad Ali's days, he was the most famous person in the world, maybe. And I mean, it's hard to imagine that today. A boxer being you almost can't.
Oh, Mike Tyson, yeah.
Tyson for his day was. I always say this to young people. There's two guys from the 80s, Michael Jackson and Mike Tyson, who were the two biggest things at one time. And it's hard for somebody who's 20 years old to imagine that.
Yeah. But
they absolutely were, without a doubt. So, all right, moving on.
Yes.
Hold on. Another red letter date in American history, August 7th, 1964.
August 7th, 1964. I'm going to say... Again, terrible with dates. I'm going to say that is the day that signed the ceasefire in the Korean War. I don't know.
That was 1953.
53, okay.
That would be the day the Tonkin Gulf Resolution passed the House and Senate.
Really? That early?
Yep. August 7th, 1964, signed by President Johnson 3 days later. It passed the House unanimously.
Yeah.
There were 2 nay votes in the Senate. I know Wayne Morse was one from Oregon. I can't think of the other. Somebody from Alaska, and I can't think of it.
I don't know why I thought all that stuff was later.
No, it was that was during like the first build-up there. And one of the worst things ever passed by our government. You tell you what, the people who think government has altruistic motives. I always say this: look up Gulf of Tonkin, look up Operation Paperclip, look up Operation Northwoods. You tell me what your government's capable of.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
You people out there listening to the CDC director every day, just go back and see what this government's done.
Yeah. The whole Gulf of Tonkin incident, I mean, it still
go back
is
to the battle.
Infamous today.
How about the blowing up of the Maine back in the Spanish-American War? There's no evidence that was an act of war. It was used as an excuse to create a crisis, as always government does. So, I mean, Gulf of Tonkin, that was actually 3 years later, the Gulf of Tonkin resolution was repealed by both House and Senate. Of course, it didn't do anything. Again, just another resolution emboldening the executive branch and the legislative branch abdicating any of their duties to balance out government. All right, moving on. Might get this one.
Okay.
Another American history question. August 9th, 1974.
I was alive, but barely.
Sure you didn't read the paper that morning? What were you, about 9 months?
Yeah, about there. I don't know. Ma said I could read them. Some about 2 years old, so I don't think I was reading at 9 months, though. Goodness, 1974, huh? I don't really have anything to measure it against because my memories of 1974 are non-existent. And
you got the Black Sox right, and you weren't around then.
No, but that I kind of knew was in 21. So I mean, that one, because all of the oil crisis and stuff came in the late 70s, and then you had Vietnam, in the 60s, but that was done early 70s.
73.
Yeah.
I want to say the ceasefire was right after late January of 73.
Yeah. Yeah, so 74, it's like, well, you think about, that was probably the day that Nixon was given the boot, huh?
Yes. I was kind of surprised you didn't get that. I knew if you kept talking about that, you'd eventually get it.
I got to clear the cobwebs out. The wheels got to turn. They squeak. And eventually...
he actually gave the speech on August 8th. For the resignation effective noon tomorrow.
Yes.
August 9th was the day that he officially left the presidency and our appointed vice president. People forget this, that Spiro Agnew had resigned the year before, became president, the only unelected vice president and president.
Yes.
So, talk about his accidency. Okay.
Yes.
One more, and this is in the realm of the sports world, a little more recent. I remember this very vividly because I had elbow surgery this summer and was very upset. August 12th, 1994.
Wow. August 12th, 1994. Oh, I'm trying to remember. Twins clinched the AL before they head into the playoffs. Like they got the number one seed.
It's a little early to clinch a division.
I don't remember what the whole magic number.
It was not the Twins clinching the division.
Okay.
That'd have been 91 anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's right. See? Terrible with dates. 87, 91. Yes.
2 magical years.
Yes. It's been so many years since we've seen anything good in sports in the state, minus my Bulldogs, but that's another history lesson. August 4th. No, 12th of 94. Oh, goodness.
You're in the right sport. I'll give you that.
Yeah, kind of figured. Must have something to do with the Yankees if you're bringing it up. Or the Dodgers. No.
Lips are sealed.
Yeah. Something with Oral Hershiser.
He was in Cleveland by then, but sure.
Oh, okay. Wow. August 4th. 12th. It doesn't matter to me. It's like you could say it's on August
1 month.
42nd, and it's like, yeah.
The audience. Nobody's going to Wikipedia this and tell me I was wrong.
Okay, so we're in the sport of baseball. Let's say
This is the summer before my senior year in high school.
so. Who was that? That guy with the emery board. No. I don't know. What are you talking about? Your shoulder or your elbow, and
It had nothing to do with Joe Necro's emery board, and that was 1987.
All right.
I'm saying you're giving up. Okay.
Okay.
I had elbow surgery a few days before this.
Well, how was I going to guess that?
No, but that's not that. Or it was already given. I remember being 17 years old and having to sit on the couch for a couple of weeks during the summer was pretty tough.
Yeah.
And I was going to watch a lot of baseball. Mm-hmm. However, on August 12th, 1994, they went on strike. Yeah. Yes. And the rest of the season was canceled.
That's right.
And I had to sit there and watch Nick at Night, and which back then was shows from the 50s. Mm-hmm. Now it's shows you and I grew up with. But
right.
So I watched a lot of Jay Leno. I remember that. I stayed up late. Sat on the couch with my arm in a splint for about 17 days, I think. I remember when they tried to straighten me out. Oh, good. Oh, my God. Oh. I learned how to put my contacts in left-handed. That was one thing I remember.
That's good.
Put them in left-handed. So any kind of, I was doing that. I couldn't do it. So. All right, Jay. So, hey, you got a couple right. You did okay that time.
Yeah.
I think. So, like you said, the dates are the problem. You remember the baseball strike, of course. But,
yeah. I mean, you said you were going to, and I'm like, strike.
Yeah.
It's like I do it,
You know what stinks? You know what really stinks about that is I was the biggest baseball fan. I'd watched the two worst teams on the face of the earth play each other.
Yeah.
And my love for baseball has never been what it was pre-strike, believe it or not. Just as a kid, you I think I realized at that time that this was, not what I thought it was anymore, and it was horrible. It was just god awful that to have an October with no World Series. Mm-hmm. So just you think that both sides are smarter than that now, but I got a gut feeling that baseball's structure, and we'll get into it with Brad Carlson on another one of my shows or something.
Yeah.
Just can't indefinitely go on the way it's going. I mean, something has to change there, and I think that it's inevitable that we have another work stoppage there. Even though they haven't had one since. But, the big one in 1981 where they split the season. I mean, that was a nightmare too. But I don't know. You think both sides. You think billions of dollars would be enough. You think somebody making $10 million wouldn't walk off their job, but I don't know. I don't know. I think they're in for something's going to have to be corrected there. But speaking of being corrected,
yes,
I am loath to bring up Minneapolis anytime. I'm loath to talk about that city. I'm loath to talk about what's going on there. I'm loath to talk about the joke of a city council. It's just the idiots who run that city. But you can't avoid it. And even living in the suburbs, you can't avoid it either because the problems are spilling out into the suburbs, as you well know, Jay.
Yeah, and I mean, really, I mean, that is the biggest issue here. I mean, if you could just wall Minneapolis off and let it destroy itself, that's one thing. But it's spilling over, and it's affecting all of the suburbs around it.
Yeah, I mean, one chaotic city. I mean, it's kind of like, if the house next to you is on fire and the fire truck never comes, eventually that fire is going to come to you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look what those Canucks have been doing up in Canada to us with all that haze, which I'll tell you what has affected me quite a bit. My eyes and throat are just, I mean, today was a great day, a beautiful day, but I mean, that hazy crap has just been awful for the last month or so, combined with, the heat and all that. Those global warming fronts coming through.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the things of Minneapolis are spilling over. And Minneapolis I don't know how to describe what's going on. I mean, it's like they go from bad to worse to worser to worsest. And when I think it's the worsest, it goes even worser than the worsest.
Yeah, worserest.
It's like, isn't that a sauce you put on? Worserest sauce?
Yes, I think it is.
It just, every day it's like the goalposts get moved, but it's like the field goal gets, it's now an 100-yard field goal to even attempt to turn this city in the right direction. On the ballot, this November is a very confusing question in my book. And I can't even find the word. This is how crazy it is. There's a question on the ballot about defunding the police, and I can't even find the exact question. Yeah, I mean,
it's possible they haven't written it yet.
Listen to this.
Although I don't believe that.
And I'm getting this from Alpha News, okay? Defund the police, officially on the November ballot in Minneapolis. This is from July 24th, 2021. A 12-1 vote from the Minneapolis City Council push a petition drive to replace the Minneapolis Police Force with a Department of Public Safety. Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah.
The proposal will ask voters if listen to this paragraph. The proposal will ask voters if they want to approve a plan to replace the police department with a new public safety department focused on a, quote, comprehensive public safety approach that would include police officers, quote, if necessary to fulfill the department's responsibilities. Okay, so let's put that out into practice. There's a drug deal going down. Some gunshots break out. 911's called. Hello, this is the public department focused on comprehensive public safety approach. Yeah, hey, some people are shooting in the alley behind me. Okay, well, do you think that is necessary? Police are necessary to fulfill those requirements? I don't know. Somebody's shooting 20 feet from me. I mean, what are you going to send?
Send a social worker.
Yeah, well, I mean, a new political committee calling itself Yes for Minneapolis gathered 20,000 petition signatures. Are they going to go through that like they did in Crystal, or are they going to make sure that all those things are?
No, of course
not.
So
10,000 guys named
because
Muhammad.
Because the city council pushed this, it said. This isn't.
Half the guys are named Muhammad. I bet on here.
I bet a lot of the same thing they did with voting. Come on, let's be real for a second. This is what they did with the election. They went and paid people to sign this. I mean, I'm guessing. Okay, paid people to sign it. Here's $20. Will you sign this? Here's a gift card for McDonald's. Will you sign this? And they don't know what it says because they can't read it.
It's got to be cash.
You have some sort of in some sort of interpreter just giving them the hey, this is good for us.
Well,
want to sign this?
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
It was reported that the group was fueled by a single $500,000 donation from George Soros's Open Society Policy Center. So if you want to know who provided the $15 holiday cards,
Yeah.
we know who did. So
Right.
So it takes $500,000 to get 20,000 signatures. Let me do some math here.
Yeah.
So that's $25 a person. Jay, you were pretty much right on. Amazing.
Yeah. It's because they bought me off. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
The plan would eliminate
Yes.
the charter's requirement for a minimum number of police officers and remove the mayor's power over the department.
Wow.
So no longer is it an executive. What is it? No longer part of the executive department then.
Right. I'd move over to the legislative. How do you do that? That's messy.
I don't know, but it's pretty crazy. I mean, the if you look at the statistics that have been going up, I mean, 550 people wounded by gunfire in 2020. There were 82 homicides last year, the third worst in history. I think it's going to be worse this year.
I do too.
Murderapolis, that was the old nickname back in the 90s. I remember, I mean, it was just... so, I mean, this yes for Minneapolis.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I mean, Hennepin County District Judge Jamie Anderson had ordered the city that they needed to have a police force of at least 730 sworn officers or more.
That was their charter requirement.
Right.
They have a requirement that's written in their constitution.
Ordered by the court
Yeah.
to boost the numbers.
Yeah, that you can't go below this without changing the charter, which is what they're trying to do. So I mean, it's pretty crazy. I mean, if you go to that website, I mean, there are a lot of groups. I don't know what. Some of these don't have anything to do with Outfront Minnesota, Our Justice, Socialist Alternative.
What?
Fighting Today for a Better Isaiah, of course. Unite Here,
Yeah,
Minnesota
course.
Hospitality Union, supposedly supporting this. Women for Political Change, Jewish Community Action, Education for Liberia, or Liberation, I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Recall Mike Freeman. Take Action Minnesota, Southeast Asian Diarrhea Project, Reviving
I
Sisterhood.
think it's a diarrhea
whatever.
project.
I can't pronounce that name.
Oh.
So, Asian American Leaders Coalition. I mean, there's
Yeah, these groups like Reclaim the Block keep popping up, and Black Visions Collective. I know we've talked about, yes for Minneapolis on a previous podcast, but I mean, this is a group that has been given almost $1 million to make sure that this passes.
well, and again, the money is coming from outside. The money.
Right.
This is not a groundswell thing in Minneapolis. This is something organized in Silicon Valley or in
Yeah, I mean, they've raised...
some progressive's office. This is
Yeah.
This is largely outside of the and again we're back to Alpha News from August 6th talking about their campaign finance reports.
$983,748.
I mean, that's incredible. That's an incredible amount of money to raise. Of the 2,626 donations listed in the report, 571 have a Minnesota address. 359 have a Minneapolis address, and I would question that address.
Yeah.
I mean, having a Minneapolis address doesn't, I bet the average donation from a Minneapolis address is $50. Everything else is probably astronomically higher than that.
Oh, boy.
So 78% of the donators are people who do not live in Minnesota. Many of them are from California. They're from New York. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you donate to your own state then?
Yeah.
I mean, sit in New York and tell Minneapolis to defund the police.
Yeah.
The National American Civil Liberties Union donated $75,000.
Oh my goodness.
$765 was made by the local chapter. San Francisco-based groups Tide Advocacy and WDN Action made donations totaling $170,000.
Wait a second. Now, what's that called? Tide?
Tides Advocacy.
I think that's through the Tides Foundation, which is George Soros again.
Oh, okay, of course. I don't know who WDN Action is. It sounds like a TV station. WDN.
Well, let me look that up so quick. So Tides what?
Tides Advocacy.
Advocacy. Yeah, sounds like the financial arm of a nonprofit or a PAC.
That's the way
Tides Advocacy. Yeah.
Soros doesn't have to pay any taxes.
And let's see. Register for Beyond Impact, Tides Advocacy, free C4 strategy and learning series. Winning strategies, building power. We're a fearless partner for people fighting for social justice, helping them mobilize communities, build political power, and change policy. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, this is all about dismantle inequities, equality and human rights, health and environment, shared prosperity, which is socialism.
Sure, that's not Disney's website.
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
Off the subject,
Yeah.
I was the biggest Disney fan.
Yeah.
I think Walt Disney's one of the greatest people who,
Oh, absolutely.
and
He's rolling over in his grave.
his
He's
brother
spinning like a
ran the
lathe.
company too, Roy Disney.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what's happened to that company and that name. It sickens me. We just think that the company of Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, and look at what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's terrible.
They're a monster. I mean,
Yeah.
they're a monster.
No, there's a well-funded group. Tides Advocacy is a team of political, legal, and financial experts that identify, connect, and fuel movements for social justice and health of our democracy. Founded in 1997, we leverage our extensive network and design solutions to make advocacy accessible to social change innovators in all sectors.
See, this is just it. All
Yeah.
these groups teach people to do is just be 24/7 activists.
Yep.
I mean, what do you want to bet these people were involved in the riots and organizing that? They were involved defending certain people, giving them lawyers. I mean,
And I was right. Tides Advocacy, formerly the Advocacy Fund, is a 501c4 nonprofit organization. Tides Advocacy is an affiliate of Tides, a 501c3 organization.
is that the laundry detergent?
Yes. Yes. They own a chain of laundromats and have the detergent, and that's where they launder their money.
Oh,
So,
well, at least it's clean.
yes.
Moving on.
Yes.
Faith in Minnesota, an offshoot of Isaiah, made in-kind donations. Local groups Black Visions Collective and Reclaim the Block made cash donations in the $100,000 range.
Holy cow. How
Where
did
the hell
they
did they get that?
much?
Where does Reclaim the Block?
Black Visions Collective, $100,000. And they're headquartered on Marshall Street, Northeast in Minneapolis.
Yeah, and they're already spending $268,000 on their door knocking, get out the vote campaign.
Oof.
I mean, if this thing goes down, what a defeat it would be. I mean, to beat this is.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's no organization going against these folks. I mean, nobody will do anything about it, and there's certainly no support on the council. I mean, the council has
Yeah.
probably working behind the scenes with them.
You know what, though? I think that there is, and I can't find it anywhere using Google because Google tanks things. But
Are those algorithms again?
yeah, you look up something and it gives you the opposite. Yeah, that's a great plan. But I believe that some of the cities in the metro are going to come up with like a lawsuit to come after the city of Minneapolis to try and put an injunction in to keep this from passing, at least until they can take them to court. And I don't know who the League of Minnesota Cities is going to side with on this. That's going to be interesting to watch play out because they represent both, the other cities and Minneapolis. And so
my guess is that if this passes, you can't rely on them.
yeah,
Because, I mean,
they may say you're on your own, I guess.
I just...
Yeah, Black Visions Collective, BLVC, is an American nonprofit organization for black liberation based in Minnesota, founded in December 2017. The group intersects with transgender and LGBTQ communities. Active in the Minneapolis-St. Paul metropolitan area, they have been involved in Black Lives Matter protests. They have lobbied for part of the Minneapolis Police Department budget to be diverted to programs which support people experiencing youth homelessness, opioid dependency, or mental health issues. So yes, anytime you see black liberation, that is Jeremiah Wright, that is Raphael Warnock, that is that whole thing that joins in with anti-racism and, that discrimination against certain people is okay.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Why doesn't this get any coverage? I mean, if this were a right wing thing to do something, all they would focus on is who are the donors, who's behind it, who's the evil person, being the puppet master behind the scenes. During this, I mean, the information is out there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it on Channel 5, Channel 9, WCCO. Why don't they report? I mean, do they not go to Minneapolis with their TV signal?
Last time I checked, WCCO is sitting right downtown.
Yeah, I mean, how is this not being talked about? I mean, you have to go to a place like Alpha News to find this stuff. These campaign finance reports are public. Anybody can look them up.
Yeah.
And I've been looking on Carol 11. I've been looking in the Star Tribune. Other than regurgitating, talking points from the city or something, you see nothing reported on this.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, does anyone
nothing.
realize the consequences if this goes through? I mean, not just for Minneapolis, but all the cities around it. I mean, they're going to become the new Chicago. They're going to have criminals from all over the country coming here.
Now, this is what I don't understand. They have to file a campaign finance report, but it doesn't seem like they have to follow any of the traditional limits that go along with, if this was a person running for office, they could only have a certain amount that they can contribute each year. $100,000. I mean, there's it's the Wild West. Whatever you feel like.
Yeah, where's the campaign finance reform advocates? Get the money out of politics. Where are they? Where's Russ Feingold here?
Yeah.
I mean, where are these hypocrites?
Don't look too hard.
Yeah. The same people who will be complaining about buying elections and things like that, they're nowhere to be found on things like this. Everything with the group depends on how it's classified. This is the thing. This is why campaign finance reform has been a negative thing, because the candidates and the parties don't control the money anymore.
Right.
The money is all into these PACs or these groups, NGOs, whatever, where there are no limits.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody wants to put millions of dollars in something, they can.
You know what I find interesting? I mean, there's a lot of fundraising among a lot of small $10 donations, $3 donations, $25 donations that come from like this person in Evanston, Illinois that's not employed.
Yeah, but they're probably making more money on unemployment right now.
Yeah, someone from Santa Barbara, California with the Santa Barbara Superior Court. Richardson, Texas, no employment. There's one from St. Paul, but then we have Salon, Iowa, University of Iowa, Malvern, Pennsylvania, Neff Cure Kidney International, San Mateo, California, not employed. Minneapolis, not employed. Battleground, Washington, couple from Minneapolis. Middlebury, Vermont, self-employed. Eugene, Oregon, not employed. St. George, Vermont, Blue Cottage, whatever that is. Sausalito, California, not employed. West Hartford, Connecticut, not employed. I'm not skipping around. I'm reading them one after the other.
Yeah, at least they're avoiding their own electric bill or something. They're
right.
Their money to.
Yeah, but it continues. Minneapolis, Englewood, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Santa Cruz, California, Seattle, Washington, Minneapolis, Colbert, Georgia, Cortland Manor, New York, Piedmont, California. Where are the people from Minnesota that actually have to deal with the effects of not having police protection? It is line after line after line after line.
I'd like to know if George Soros has
California, Washington.
I'd love to know if George Soros has personal security or not.
El Segundo, California, Pueblo, Colorado, Orlando, Florida, Eugene, Oregon, New York, Oregon, Florida, Massachusetts, Honolulu, Ohio. Oh, finally one from St. Paul. Yeah, because they're going to be affected by whether we have a police force or not.
Well, here's my question.
Yeah, we'll make sure that the article that has the link to the campaign finance report is there for you to see. It is more people, like exponentially more people that are not from Minnesota than people that are from Minnesota. I don't understand.
I wonder if they're funding it in all these cities now. I mean, it's got to be the same people that are trying it in Portland and Seattle and in cities like Nashville, cities like Indianapolis, cities that you wouldn't even think. And I'll tell you what, if it's successful here, it's just going to be a firestorm.
Yeah,
you're going to see it everywhere. And I'd like to know. I'd like to know too, where is like the Minnesota DFL party on this? You know, where are their legislators? Where's the Fonz? Where's Melissa Horrible? Where's Susan Kent? Where's the governor? The governor MIA. Where's the president? Who is completely missing in action.
Yeah.
I mean, where are they weighing in on this? Because again, if I'm Governor Walz, I mean, you're going to have more. The situation is going to get worse. You're going to have more stuff like you had last summer. And he'll be the one that has to deal with it. Mm-hmm. He won't deal with it. He'll punt it. But, I mean, you look at the chaos going on in our major cities and these politicians who've largely run these cities for a long, long time. And I'll tell you what, Republicans shoulder some blame too, because many of them have done nothing in these cities. They don't campaign in these cities. They have no organization in these cities. They don't go in there and go to these neighborhoods. They stay in Wayzata and talk to a group of doctors, but they don't get on the ground. They've largely given up in some of these areas. So, of course, it just gets more radical and radical and radical. Mm-hmm. The consequences are immense. They're everywhere if this goes through. Now, here's the thing I don't understand. If you have a department, I'm still unclear on what the question is on the ballot. Because you can word something when you play word games, and it's not a simple yes or no. Do you want to defund the police, yes or no? That's not the question.
Right.
The question is, do you want to replace this with this or that, and blah blah blah? And I see this. I mean, you have that plus ranked choice voting. It's hard enough in Minneapolis. Okay, it's already a circus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, can you end up with a situation that people vote for something, and this is a charter change?
Yes.
These things aren't easy to change.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. It's gonna be hard to change this back.
Yeah.
So this could be permanent, whether it's, you know.
Yeah, charters are very hard to change on purpose, and that's why
it should be.
They weren't able to get it done through the charter committee, and they had to go outside the state to raise funds so that they could buy people off in order to get this thing signed with enough signatures to get it on the ballot. I mean, that really is the only reason.
Okay, here is the approved question.
Yeah.
Shall the Minneapolis City Charter be amended to strike and replace the police department with the Department of Public Safety that employs a comprehensive public health approach and which would include licensed peace officers, if necessary, trust me, it will be, to fulfill its responsibilities for public safety, with the general nature of the amendments being briefly indicated in the explanatory note below, which is made part of the ballot? That's the question.
That's so confusing.
I got that from NBC News, so I mean...
That's super confusing. Read that again for everybody, really slow, and just let it sink in. How would you vote? I mean, what is voting for and what is voting against this?
Shall the Minneapolis City Charter be amended to strike and replace the police department with the Department of Public Safety that employs a comprehensive public health approach and which would include licensed peace officers, if necessary, to fulfill its responsibilities for public safety, with the general nature of the amendments being briefly indicated in the explanatory note below, which is not part of this ballot?
Unbelievable. And
I want to know who voted against this, though. Is that Blong Wang? Vote?
No, he's not on the city council. Here's the deal.
And of course, by the way, NBC News reports the Yes for Minneapolis group, which describes itself. It lists their own description.
Yes.
No investigative reporting on who they are.
Right.
As a coalition of residents, neighbors, businesses, and organizations. Yeah, right.
Journalists
and families from across the city. Yeah, whatever.
Right.
Go look at the donations list. There's nothing like that.
Ugh.
Horrible reporting.
Horrible.
Of course,
Should be
there's somebody
ashamed
from
of
the AP,
themselves.
some babe, some toots. Of course, I can't pronounce the name. Nicole Avocado.
That's probably not it.
Well, it looks like avocado.
Okay. Here's the thing. I mean, people are going to read that, and without a proper explanation, you know, it's like you said, and police officers, or how do they phrase it? Peace officers will be hired if necessary. Well, of course it's necessary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
but will it be in their worldview? Because look what's happened in Seattle. Look what's happened in Portland, where they just let the inmates run the asylum. You know, people are going to think, yeah, of course that's necessary. That's our gut reaction. Yes, of course we need police officers. But it's totally ambivalent. Or not ambivalent, it's ambiguous. There's nothing in stone that says that they have to. So if they don't want to, they won't.
But now what's going to happen then if it just breaks down into total chaos? I mean, you have a sheriff's department. You have other police departments around. I mean, what becomes of that? You know, because again, if you have this written in charter,
yeah,
okay, Minneapolis City Council can't just reverse itself and get rid of the Department of Public Safety that sits around and worries about mental health. They can't do that.
But can the Charter Commission put a change in, and it would have to go through the city council, though, right?
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
I mean, it just creates a mess, and it's not something that can be changed quickly.
No,
you know,
of course
it's
not. But it's not meant to be.
Right.
That's the whole thing. It's not meant to be changed quickly.
Yeah.
It's meant to be deliberate, and by the way, there should have to be a super majority to do this, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at adding a constitutional amendment, Jay, and
Yes.
how many states have to approve it and so on and so forth, this should not be a 51 to 49 thing. This should be. Is this ranked choice voting, by the way? Can I go yes, no, not sure, don't know, no opinion, blah, blah, blah? I mean, can I do that?
That would be consistent with the mess they've created over there. It sounds like it's just a yes or no question, but that would be keeping with what they got over there. So
a no vote is to keep it the same.
right.
The same, because there's a ratio. They have to have a minimum number according to their city. Here's what I don't understand. Why is the Minneapolis Teachers Union supporting this?
That is a fine question.
I mean, if I'm
Yes.
at a school and you see school shootings, you see, kids realizing there's no consequences for acting out.
Yeah.
You've taught Minneapolis, okay?
Yeah.
Wasn't a lot of fun when you were there, and that wasn't exactly a few months ago.
I don't know if what I did you'd really call teaching as much as
Okay, babysat,
yeah.
or whatever you want to say. But a Minneapolis teachers union recently declared its support for defunding the police of Minnesota. Yet another politically charged union, the Minnesota Federation of Teachers, the Minneapolis Federation of Teachers, urged its followers to attend an event hosted by Yes for Minneapolis, the citizen-led organization behind the defund movement. Together, we can reimagine what public safety looks like, reads a tweet from Minneapolis Teachers Union.
Oh my goodness.
According to the union's website, the Minneapolis Federation of Teachers is committed to community engagement, organizing, collective bargaining, and political activism.
Yeah.
Last summer, the union, this would be December of 2020, pressured Minneapolis public schools into cutting ties with the Minneapolis Police Department. The group has endorsed leftist city council members Felipe Cunningham, Steve Fletcher, Jeremiah Ellison,
Of course.
and promoted endless progressive ideas on social media, including Pride Month, Juneteenth, Black Lives Matter, if you're shot by a police officer, and educators against police brutalities. I mean, what is the... I'm lost on the motive from, imagine there's an emergency situation at a school.
Yeah.
And you call the old mental health line or whatever. I mean, you know what I'd like to see? This is really bad. But I would really like to, this needs to happen to see the consequences. I want Hennepin County to stand down. I want all police in other cities. I want the governor all to stand down. You vote for this, we're not doing anything for this city. Nothing. State Patrol doesn't go in there.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to see what it's really like.
Yeah.
And I would give, if I were the governor, I'd be threatening them with stand down orders. I'm going to pull the state patrol out. I'm going to pull transit police out. I guess they can't because that's Metro Transit.
Right.
Sheriff's Department, none of them are going to help you.
Well, that's up to the sheriff.
Well, that's true. I mean, and we know what
he
the
doesn't
sheriff's like.
do anything. I'm not sure if he's been seen since the riots.
Is he? He is. You talk about a sheriff who's MIA. My God, he must be back on the Metro Transit line or something, wearing a mask. Yeah, the sheriff's invisible. Of course, the previous sheriff going to advocate for gun control in Washington didn't really win me over either. But another story. But imagine that. Imagine, you create this chaos. We're not bailing you out.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you it's going to blow up at some point. At some point, something's going to happen. We're going to say, well, if this passes, we're not doing anything for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
I don't know. I'm torn. It's like, as much as I would like to see them have to live with their own the consequences of their own actions, I know that that's going to spill out into the suburbs, and that's unfortunate because there are good police officers, good police chiefs in the suburbs that are going to feel the brunt of the increase in crime. And talking with a mayor here in the cities told me that in his city, all of the increase in crime that he has seen can be traced directly back to Minneapolis addresses.
Huh.
All of it.
Yeah,
and that's with police still on duty there, by the way.
But to me, I mean, I don't know how you get this point across any other way. I don't know how you... And, here's the other thing. Odd year election.
Yeah.
Ranked
choice voting.
Who comes out during this. This is all by design. I mean, this is not...
Yeah.
This is not an accident that this is how it's done. So you just wonder if 30% of the people go to the polls or 35% or whatever. It's hard to tell because ranked choice voting, you can't determine that.
And as you know, with an odd year election, a very small minority determines what happens with that election.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, this is why it's so unfair. Because,
you just have to turn out your activists and you win. Isn't that is usually the way it goes?
$1 million to spend to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's... I'm going to predict that it passes. I mean, I think it's going to pass. I actually think it's going to pass by a wide margin because I think the only way this doesn't pass, two things.
Yeah.
It's got to galvanize some opposition. And some people, and I'm going to compliment Mayor Frey here, who has vocally opposed this, he has to turn out his people to vote against this.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wants to be reelected, it's going to be on a ticket of not defunding the police. As weird as it sounds for me to say this, I think Jacob Frey is a weak man. But he is to the right of the people who are pushing this.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want my legacy to be if he gets beat and this goes through. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's going to be known as the mayor who effed this up. And he's got to take a stand. I mean, I think a strong stand by him would be cheered. I think he's wrong if he thinks he can be wishy-washy on this.
Yep.
I think he has to articulate that. I don't have a lot of confidence that he will. I mean, and I think other Democrats need to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty of Democrats who do not support defunding. Some of them are kowtowed into silence.
Yeah.
Some of them are afraid to speak out for fear of being called racist, even though that's the atmosphere they've helped create.
Yeah.
I mean, they've played along with creating this atmosphere where somebody who disagrees with something gets censored.
What about people that have nothing to lose? Why doesn't Phyllis Kahn come out and say something?
I know.
She's got nothing to lose at this point. She's not running for anything.
But like former Governor Dayton or somebody like that. I mean, why don't they come out and say something? I don't know. I don't understand it. I mean, Colin Peterson wouldn't have he would have the influence in Minneapolis. But I mean, there are people who could lend their name to this, and I just think ultimately it comes down to having courage.
Yeah.
And I think there's an older group of people on the left who we're going to wish we're in power. I mean, you sit there and you look at...
I mean, where's OPAT?
No kidding. Where's the sheriff? I mean, how about him? What's his sheriff's department going to have to do if this goes through?
Their headquarters is in downtown Minneapolis.
Well, I mean, people how about the judges who sit in courtrooms, and where are the business owners? Where are the this is a long shot. Where are the professional sports teams?
Yeah.
Who have to have people come down?
To
the
downtown
Timberwolves,
Minneapolis.
the Twins, the Vikings. They have to have people feeling safe to go in their city, watch these games, or they're broke. You know, and again, I just think there's just a lot. It is easier to just make a donation to one of these groups, stay silent on these things, don't say anything that might ruffle somebody's feathers.
Yep.
I mean, again, I think an action by somebody like that would be cheered. I think it would be. I think the
there has been no effort by anyone to run a counter to this.
Not that I know of.
No.
Where's their group? Where's the pro group? And by the way, let's say something too. Where are the Minneapolis police officers?
Yeah.
Where's their union?
Maybe
Where's
they're
their-
like, you know what?
Let's just get out of
I need
here.
a reason to get out of here.
Screw this place. I know.
If I get laid off, I can get hired again.
They've already
somewhere else.
lost a bunch of officers already.
Yeah.
I mean, in the last year, officers who've retired or quit or gone somewhere else. They probably can't hire anybody to save their life in there. But I'm and you know, there's other parts like South Minneapolis, you know, around like Lake Tacoma. There's some nice parts of Minneapolis down there.
Well, they used to be.
Yeah,
I've heard
guess.
from people around Lake Nokomis that it's not so nice
Oh,
anymore
really?
since
Okay.
all of this.
Well, that's. But again,
Yeah.
shouldn't everybody there see the consequences of what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, at some point their home values are going to plummet. At
Yeah.
some point, I mean, it's their schools
People are
aren't
looking to
gonna
get
be
out.
Safe.
Oh, their schools were never safe.
Yeah, that's true. But you defund the police, it's
Well, they already pulled the police out of the schools too.
True. I wonder who do they got? A
The teachers,
RoboCop?
the teachers union disassociated themselves
Yeah.
from the police and kicked them out.
I mean, that's just silly. So I mean, it's getting worse every day. I don't know what's going to change it. I really don't. But I think in the short run, the only thing that does is Democrats speaking out against it.
Yeah, in Minneapolis, that is the only thing that is going to.
And that's from Governor Walz
the
on
day.
down. And
Yeah.
I'm sure he hasn't weighed in on it because I'm sure he's
Of course not.
coward. He's hiding and, doesn't want to get involved. And, and how about the representatives in Minneapolis? I mean, are they all for this? Are they all talking about it?
Yeah, you mean the state representatives?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any of them. I'm trying to quote some of them. I'm trying to find where they live there.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
I mean, from what I hear, the people that live in North Minneapolis, the people that live in Cedar Riverside, the people that live down in Phillips, they want the police around. From what I hear, but
Are they going to come out and vote that way with a question like that?
are they going to come out and vote at all?
It's an odd year with ranked choice voting. That's about as bad of a scenario as you can paint.
Yeah.
And
is there any fraud and with early voting such as it is, and are you going to have people going around specifically with this organization going around
Sure.
and ballot harvesting?
Of
Because they
course.
had ballot harvesting in the last election.
You're-
They caught people ballot harvesting.
And how about targeting people that maybe can't speak English all
Yep.
that well, or
And
new residents?
they're not going to
or-
understand that
Yeah,
question.
I mean, targeting 18-year-olds. Of course, they don't want the police to pull.
Yeah.
I mean, is there going to be an effort to sort of? Of course, there's going to be. I mean, my goodness. That's a given. I think.
Kids, let me tell you a story. Back in the 60s, music came out and culture was such that don't trust anybody over 30. Don't trust adults. Don't trust the government. And now these same people that didn't trust the government are telling you to trust the government. They're telling you that you should believe in them. I would run, and I would run fast. and I would run hard in the opposite direction.
Yeah, if you think about it, you go back to the 60s, it was all an anti-establishment movement and anti,
Yeah.
now they're arm in arm with
Yeah.
all those people. I mean, Silicon Valley's arm in arm with all these groups and so on and so forth. It's anything but what it originally was. But you know what? Could this just came to me, could this have been the plan all along? Hear me out. They didn't want this on the ballot last year in a general election where they knew everybody would vote.
No.
Could it have been the plan all along to hold this till 2021?
I think they had to go through the formalities of
They
bringing
had a
it.
backup plan. This could have been the backup.
Right.
Okay, if we can't get the charter changed, here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're going to war game this.
Right.
How does this come out? And so the plan could have been all along to put this on 2021 in the beginning.
Right. If they would have been able to get the Charter Commission to do it, great. Easy. But
I guess they couldn't buy them off.
right.
Minneapolis better think about who's on their charter commission. I'm surprised that the council didn't move to.
Well, that's appointed by a judge.
Well,
I
that's
don't know
true.
that they can
That's
do much.
True. Well, you might be right there. They can get certain people to apply to be on it, but
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I just. And you look at Minneapolis. We've gone through this before of the people not running for re-election again. The people
Yeah.
that aren't good. Alondra Cano, Lisa Bender. There's people not running again, and it's like, well, how convenient that you helped
Right.
create this BS, and now you exit stage left when push comes to shove.
I would like to
you're
find out if they still have a Minneapolis address in 6 months after the election.
I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not. Because, they're hiring their own private security
Yeah.
to watch over them while they're on the city council. You think they're going to stay in Minneapolis when they can't afford it anymore?
And how about the poor people who can't hire private security? How about
Yeah.
them?
Well,
where are their advocates?
too bad.
Remember, these are the party of the little guy.
Right.
They're. I don't know. It's pretty bad. I say it's inevitable if this spills over to St. Paul. I don't know that
Yeah.
St. Paul's is crazy, but I don't think Mayor Carter's on board with all of this, but
I don't know.
he's pretty I think he's been pretty wishy-washy on this. But, again, I think the only hope is Democrats speaking out and Mayor Frey having some courage to run on against this, to make that he's going to have to. He's going to have to make this a central theme that, look, I can't operate without a police department.
Right.
You can't take this away. We can make reforms.
Yeah.
We can, change some policies, but we can't eliminate police completely.
And if I were him, I would almost run like a dual campaign. My 2 points would be like, I will not get rid of the police if I have anything to say about it, and you had better vote no.
He might get donations from people that would never in a million years want him to be the mayor.
Right.
But it's like, okay, well, this right now, great. Jay, you might get out your checkbook. It's,
If I can find it, I haven't written a check in years.
a few weeks.
Yeah.
A little old fashioned. But yeah, it's I still think it's going to pass. I just do. Unfortunately. So, is that your prediction?
I don't know. I hate to give up hope,
Not giving up hope, but I have no faith that.
Let's put it this way. If it's a general election in an even year, there's no way this passes. In an odd year, it's a toss-up. At best, it's a toss-up because it really depends what side gets out their base.
Well, and also, but the base is kind of the same people. Are certain people going to be pressured to vote? Yes. I mean,
Of course.
you a traitor to blacks if you're black and you don't want to defund the police. I mean, there's some of that going on. So.
I think so, but there's still a lot of black people that take a stand and say, no, we need this in our neighborhood. I'm tired of the shootings. I'm tired of the robberies. I'm tired of the carjackings. I'm tired of the drugs.
Yeah. That's only getting worse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, their solutions, look, it should be evident that they're not working. And look, I'm not a police apologist either. I know you're not either.
Right.
I mean, I'm not somebody who, for some reason, it feels like you have to take one side or the other. Either the police, I support my law enforcement and the greatest people, they never do anything wrong. Or I hate the police. They're all scumbags. I want them gone. I mean, filter those two sides somehow.
Yeah.
You know, I don't belong to either. But why have laws if you have no law enforcement? Well, why doesn't Minneapolis just repeal every law?
Well, I mean, they're already not prosecuting a bunch of them. I mean, they're kind of headed in that direction.
They're not prosecuting certain crimes.
Right.
But other things, in some ways, they're making some things worse. Probably being a landlord in Minneapolis.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain ways where they're making it, you know, they're certainly enforcing certain things.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, again, I just say this: when law enforcement is you know, not blind, it's like crony capitalism. It's just picking, you know, it's picking, saying one group has rights that another group doesn't have.
Right.
It can't be like that. Well, the law can't do that. I know it. There were Jim Crow laws in the past, things. That's a stain on our history.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with right now.
Nope.
That's what happened 100 years ago isn't relevant to today anymore. It can't be. That's not the society we're striving for, is for, you know, your skin color shouldn't matter. If you, I mean, what are you going to do, Jay? If a white guy is going 100 and a 30, should they get pulled over? But if a black guy goes 100 and a 30, they should not get pulled over? I mean,
absolutely should.
So how is? But when I see statistics like, well, it's disproportionate that people of color are getting, well, you're pulling over who's ever breaking the law, aren't you? I mean
yep.
What are you supposed to do? Look at the color, go, well, can't pull them over. I mean,
right.
What the hell is that? You know, it's just, I hear that stuff, and you know, I just go, well, so what is that? Does that mean that you know, you're not going to prosecute something because of somebody's skin color? That's Jim Crow backwards.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So I'm gonna say it passes by a wide margin.
It might. Like I say, it really depends on who gets their base out. Right now, I have not seen an adequate response to this, so I probably am tending to side with you right now. But if there is a strong pushback, or if people come out to vote in record numbers, I think it's got a chance of not passing.
Well, I think like another thing I'd like to see, by the way, who's running against Frey, by the way?
I don't know.
Is it the usual where there's 800?
Could be. Well, it would have to be, you know, ranked choice voting. I'm sure there's a number. You have 75 Democrats and 54 from the Pot Now Party and the 5 Green Party people, and
there are like 20 people running for mayor.
Of course there are. Is Mao Zedong Jr. running?
The third,
because he might win in that city.
We've got your buddy Bob Carney. Bob again.
Are you serious? Why?
I don't know.
Why?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Why?
7, 8, 9 Democratic candidates. There's one libertarian, one humanitarian, Socialist Workers Party, 2 people as independents.
Socialist Workers Party might actually win.
One for the people, two more Republican candidates.
For the people, that sounds socialist or communist as well.
Yeah, that'd be the People's Republic.
Yeah. Two Republicans other than Bob Carney?
No, Bob Carney's one.
Okay.
Laverne
Who's
Turner
progressive
is the
anyways.
other. I don't know what he is.
He says he's progressive. We've had
Bob
this conversation
again.
with him. Sorry, but I'm not going to vote for a progressive. I'm not going to vote in Minneapolis anyways, but...
Well, let's hope not.
Yeah.
There's a lot on the ballot there. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's so full
You'd be
of
glad to know
garbage.
that as of right now, both St. Louis Park candidates have no opponent.
Of course not. Why would they? We've done such a fantastic job.
Three of the four have not one opponent.
Like their ordinance here in St. Louis Park where you don't get a straw at the drive-thru unless you ask for one. Yeah. They've pretty much cured global warming. So
yeah, and Mayor of St. Paul, you'll be glad to know, has got about 10 candidates as well, all nonpartisan.
Really?
I guess they don't say anything.
Good for them. I mean that.
I do too.
That is the way it's supposed to be. Thank you.
Golden Valley has a whole boatload of candidates. We haven't looked into this yet.
They are ranked choice voting now as well as
Are they really?
St. Louis Park is, and is Golden Valley?
I didn't hear about that.
We'll have to check into that. But if they have a boatload of candidates, I suppose it's still too early for a primary. So maybe there's a primary.
No, there's no primary.
There's no
primary day
primary.
would have been today.
Oh, it would have been today.
Our old friend Joni Clausen running again.
Okay.
And one of your friends, Jillian Rosenquist running again. Another person who loves to retweet community solutions. Hasn't ruined Golden Valley enough, so she's. You won't find a more ditzy tweeter. So I think I'll share some things from her website next time. We'll do that next time.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll do something on, Golden Valley as we did 2 years ago. So, oh boy.
What?
Nothing.
A whole bunch of odd year
move
elections coming up. I think Bloomington and Hopkins and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, St. Anthony, New Brighton. Oh, New Brighton switched.
Yeah,
That's
Minnetonka's another one. Duluth is another one.
Yeah.
It's funny how the big cities seem to have gone toward. I mean, Bloomington is one of the bigger cities in Minnesota, and St. Louis Park is in the top 20 for population. By the way, did you see the special election at Brooklyn Park?
No, for
on
mayor.
Tuesday?
No, I was out of town. So
That's right. Rumor has it, and I don't know how official this is.
Yeah.
That because of course that's Jeff Lundy's seat that was
Yes.
vacated, and they had of course the DFL put up their person Hollis Winston, and Lisa Jacobson, who is on the council, ran against. She won by one vote.
Really?
3,415 to 3,414.
Wow.
I don't know if that's been certified. I don't know. Of course, Lisa Jacobson's on the council. She really should recuse herself. But an amazing, a 1.1 vote. And it's just incredible how much money the DFL spent against her and for this Winston guy. So, I mean, it's maybe something we ought to go over in a future show. But just a one vote victory.
Wow. It happens.
Yeah,
you know,
maybe that is a special election. Maybe you're right. Maybe something like that can happen. I don't know. But
it happens, and
I was following that Tuesday nights.
Yeah, I did not follow it. I was not thinking about it at all.
I kind of forgot about it myself.
Busy working out of town, so yeah. Ugh. With this kind of stuff, and I think we will probably do some stuff to cover this later on. and maybe reintroduce why we think that odd year elections are a bad thing and why things need to be in a general election. And they have done so much, these special interests, to mess with the integrity of our elections. And I think talking about that at some point as well from a local level, what we can do to make sure that our elections are run in a manner that are full of integrity. It's full of integrity, and it is really foolproof.
Well, I think you got problems there though, because
Yeah.
local governments don't make those calls.
Right.
That's
Well, I mean, county, makes a lot of those calls. I mean, ultimately, you have the Secretary of State that is at the top of that, which, we're kind of in a hole as long as we've got
well, Steve Simon's
there. Simon
he's
Says is
not
doing it.
interested in changing anything.
No, but from a county level, which is in our purview, being nonpartisan, things that maybe we could do to help shape some of that up, tighten up the controls over it a little bit.
I hate to say it. You can't beat them, join them. If you can't beat them at their game.
Yeah.
I think Republicans or people on the right, you Republicans, and you're right to take the principled view and to play fair and insist on that. It's politics. Be dirtier than they are. Beat them at what they're doing. Go ballot harvest yourself. I mean, look, the amount of money and power that's on the line, it's kind of like you got a house with a big dog that's kind of scary. Get a bigger dog that's scarier.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds terrible what I'm saying, but I mean, you can either win or be right. Which is it?
I don't know. I guess I would like to think that there's a way it can be done without
I
cheating.
would like to too, but
I don't want to cheat. I don't want to break laws. I would like to see people go to jail that do cheat and break laws.
Yeah, but we all know that the powerful protect each other on both sides.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to go to jail for anything like this.
Oh, no.
So it's sort of like, yeah, in a perfect world, 2/3 of these people belong in jail. But it ain't happening. And again, I know it's terrible what I'm saying, but it's like, and I don't mean go cheat. That's not what I mean. What I mean is if they got a great ground game, create a better one.
Yeah.
They've got everybody voting early, get more people to vote early.
Yeah.
Stop
I agree with that.
whining about it and go out and do it. And I think there's just way too much wham. They're changing the rules. Fine. Be better at it then.
Yeah. Play within the rules, but get better at it.
But I think too many people want to win an argument, and they'd rather win an argument than win on election day.
Right.
The left doesn't care about that.
Nope.
They don't care about fair play. They don't care about winning arguments. They don't care what they literally train people to be 24/7 activists.
Yes. Literally.
Okay? So then why doesn't the other side do the same thing? See how it's working and do it gooder.
Because we're more content with changing the rules back to what they used to be than taking what you have to play with.
The good old days where, that's...
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, but let's go get the power back first and then change the rules.
Yeah,
let's not opine about changing rules that we don't have any power to change.
Well, but again, it's all about being right, and it's all about, I just...
Yeah.
Until the ground game gets equalized.
Yes.
And there are some places where the right does this well. Texas is one place where the right does a great job of gathering people together. I mean, you look at a state like Texas where, you've got, high minorities, you've got something like way more high percentage there. Many of them are voting to the right.
Yeah.
It's BS to say that Texas has changed because of demographics. It hasn't. If you look at it, Florida, 30% minority in that state.
Right.
It's becoming redder every day.
Well, I mean, you got Cubans who hate
They're the older
hate
ones
socialism.
though now.
Yeah.
The younger ones though are like I said, why are they moving there? No income tax. No,
Right.
Same thing in Texas. There's no, there's reasons why people are flocking to those two states. And so so there are some places where the right does this very well. But most places it's awful.
It's true. I mean, even if somebody is pro-choice and pro welfare, they still don't want to pay income tax.
I know. Pay for it. Yeah. Or some people are pro those things if they look a little different. They're not necessarily pro how they look now. I know some people who believe in a safety net who don't believe in redistributing wealth.
Right.
There is a difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Or they believe in unemployment, but they don't, I think, again, that's another thing where either you're a socialist or you're it's like you can't be, it's like you go back to a lot of Democrats in the 70s and 80s were still capitalists who were not socialists, but they wanted that social safety net there, and it's very different than a lot of them today.
Yeah.
So, all right, Jay.
Yes.
It's that time again.
Okay.
Once again, jet flying, limousine riding. The women love them, the men want to be them. Community Solutions once again presents with the sign-off sermon, SOS. Sign-off sermon. Here to give us the pregame preach. How about your queens? What are your queens going to do this year?
Don't care. Don't care.
Did you watch a quarter or something last year?
Something like that.
I had Dalvin Cook on my fantasy team. That's the only reason I watched.
I love football. Can I just say that? I love football. But, man, I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it.
No more.
We're having 2 national anthems. We're going to put logos in everywhere so that everybody feels good.
The NFL's become another woke corporation.
Yeah.
That's what they've become.
Yeah. There's nothing smash mouth about let's get around and sing Kumbaya.
I always remember the words of Dick Butkus.
Yeah.
You never help a guy up. You don't hold a guy's hand. You don't pray with somebody. After the game, maybe you shake the guy's hand. But during the game or before the game, I want nothing to do with the other team.
Yep.
I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
But he was asked what he doesn't like about football today, and he pretty much sugarcoated it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't help a guy up that I just knocked on their ass, okay? All right, Jay.
Yeah.
Sign off sermon. Give it to us.
Okay. I don't even know where to begin some days anymore. We've got a nation that is crazy. I don't mean that lightly. I don't mean that in a sense that is figurative. I mean that literally. We are losing our ever-loving minds. And what do we do when the people that are around us making decisions aren't making any sense? Well, there's not much we can do because these are people that have been elected to office and they came in not naive and being swayed into making bad decisions. They got elected knowing full well what they intended to do when they got there. These are activists. These are people that came into office with a set of goals to strip away everything that we know about society and rebuild it in their own image. These are people that they don't care how they get things done as long as they get things done. The ends justify the means. We cannot continue to walk down this road like this because it's a dead end. It doesn't end well for us if we just choose to remain silent. We can't. Because it's not just the people who do evil things that promote evil. It's also the people that remain silent in the face of evil that promote evil, that are evil themselves, as Dietrich Bonhoeffer said. And you can't have goodness prevail and remain silent when our necks are on the line. Can't leave it to the next guy. Oh, the next guy will get it. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. I'll leave it for the next guy. Pretty soon, things have progressed so far that there is no next guy that is going to be able to take care of our problems. Instead, we're going to be overtaken. We're going to be overcome. And we're going to think, I didn't see this coming. Well, you better. You better see it coming, because we're telling you about it here on this podcast week after week after week after week after week. We're one of a very small group of people that are telling you what is coming, and that you cannot continue to move towards this crazy society that we're building, this dystopian culture where all hail Big Brother. You know, for any of you who have read 1984, who have read Brave New World, who have read The Fountainhead, who have read Atlas Shrugged, you know how this story ends if you don't do something about it. You have to. You have to do something. Because the only other alternative is to do nothing and be taken away into an economic captivity, into a social captivity that you don't want to be a part of. That's just not, it's not an option, because the good old days don't ever come back. You know, you're concerned about enjoying life. You want to get out in the boat. You want to go out for a drive. You want to camp. You want to fish. You want to hunt. You want to read a book. You want to watch TV. Whatever it is that you fill your time with, that's not focused around maintaining and saving this republic. It's a moment waste. It's an hour wasted. It's a day, a month, a week, a year wasted. Pretty soon the years add up, and we get down the road and we don't recognize the culture we live in anymore. That's what's happened. But the speed is picking up. It's not going to wait years. Things can change on a dime at any time. Next time there's a big thing like 9/11 or coronavirus or whatever, you just wait. The government's waiting to take liberties away from you in the name of saving you. So you have got to do something about it. It didn't take everybody to win the Revolutionary War, the Civil War. It didn't take everybody, but it took the right people. It took good people. It took people that cared about their country, that loved their country, and were willing to stand to make sure that it became everything it was supposed to be. So what are you going to do differently? What's getting in the way between you and making sure that this country is preserved? What are those things? Can you do them 50% less? Can you put them down entirely? Heck, can you do them 30% less and take that 30% and turn around and give it back to your country? Is that something that you could do? Because if we don't, it's over. Shut off the lights. Time to go home. But if you're willing to take that challenge, and you're willing to step into it, and you're willing to do whatever needs doing, put your hand to the plow and push. We can definitely delay them, and I believe we can beat them. So who's in? Who's going to join us? We need you. If this message hits home with you, get a hold of us. COMMsolutionsMN@gmail.com. That's COMMsolutionsMN@gmail.com. We have work to do, guys. And there's no more time to mess around. We can't do it. We cannot mess around. So who's in? Yeah. It's just you and the guy in the mirror, the girl in the mirror. Get honest with yourself. Do you like where we're headed? Are you willing to do something about it? Let us know, because we love you, Minnesota. But now it's your turn to get to work.